So this is me wondering how the hypocrite in chief became the commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Force.
Black, educated or uneducated, rich or poor. And this is exactly why we are at the moment struggling.
And yes, you're very right. The same struggles you were fighting then are the same struggles we are fighting now. So you have become our struggle. You have become the new Ian Smith.
In short, Comrade Chairman, reconciliation can be summarized in this way. Accept us and we shall accept you.
So if you are willing to accept the colonialists, the imperialists who gave you hell for all those years, why is it so hard for you to accept us now who are coming to you with a different opinion? Why do you tell us to get out of the country if we come to you with a different opinion?
So to tell you the truth, in politics you have to have an inbuilt system of shock absorbers. And I just don't care what they say, as long as I know I'm right.
And there you go again. So you think you're the only one who's got inbuilt system of shock absorbers. Why does it surprise you when our own inbuilt system of shock absorbers starts to come into play? Why does it bother you when us, this generation, starts to speak out?
Back in the 50s and 60s, black political aspirations were modest. They wanted simple political rights. But even their demonstrations were banned. As frustration mounted, moderation turned to militancy. Passive resistance turned to civil disobedience, and the seeds were sown for a full-scale civil war.
You cannot fight these grievances by pleading for their rectification. You can only do so by getting to the root cause of the problem. And that's the problem of power.
When Ian Smith banned all your protests, when Ian Smith thwarted you and sent dogs on you and sent the police on you and salute scouts on you to ban all the protests, it was okay for you to get to the armed struggle. It was okay for you and your guys to go to war. Why does it bother you when people now start to talk about the armed struggle as well against you, when you do the same thing that Smith did? Why is it a problem now when people start to say we have had enough of this, we've had enough of police brutality, we've had enough of police throwing tear gas at us? Why does it bother you when people start to get angry, when you yourself and your guys, you did the same thing to liberate the country?
To use petrol bombs as far back as 1960, and we were the first to use them, but purely as a means of pressure, not really to try and destroy life, but to intimidate the authorities into conceding.
Oh, okay. So now you know there's things like intimidation. Okay, so when you start to get intimidated, it is a problem. When you were intimidating Smith, when you were throwing petrol bombs as a form of intimidation to the Smith regime, it was okay. When we start to do the same to you, who is doing the exact same thing that Smith did, it's now a problem.
It is absolutely wrong to allow a set of individuals to acquire the ownership and possession of resources which are God-given. They're not man-made. The land, the water, the forests, the animals, the fish in the river, the minerals.
And the award for hypocrisy, the highest level of hypocrisy, goes to R.G. Smith. What happened to 15 billion of diamond money? What happened to all that money, all the resources of the country? Why is it that you've got a 25-bedroom mansion in Borodale? Why is it that you and your people are the only people who are living well in the country? Why is it that the road to your house is the best road in the country? When the resources of the country, the God-made resources, are for everybody, why is it that you and your cronies are the only ones who've got multiple farms?
But would the whites be left with any sort of vestige of the standards of living to which they've been accustomed in the past?
If those standards of living have been based on color, then they must forget about them. But if they are based on the fact that they have the necessary skills to contribute, then they will continue to maintain them, and no one is going to deprive them of what they are entitled by way of benefits from the economy if they have the necessary skills.
I'll then ask you this then, that How many people have written open letters to you? Economists. Nkosana Moyo wrote a letter to you recently and said to you, cut down the cabinet. You've got a big-ass cabinet, useless cabinet. Why is it that you spend so much money traveling in and out of the country? That your daughter gives birth in Singapore. Why do you get treatment in Singapore? Why don't you get treatment in your own country?
And so it's the interest of the people really that is the decisive factor.
The interest of the people is for you to leave office. The interest of the people right now is for you to go because you're old and incompetent. Everyone right now wants you gone, including your own guys, just that they don't have enough courage to tell you, but they want you gone as well. So the interest of the people right now is for you to leave the office and go home, take care of your grandchildren.